What's good advice to try to protect yourself from this increasingly dangerous world of cyber attacks?
Again, educate yourself that you understand that there is a threat. First, you have to realize that. Then you're going to step up and you're going to do stuff a little bit more. Sometimes I think I take that to a little bit extreme. I remember one time my mom called me and she was screaming that I woke up this morning and I just clicked on a link and now my phone is making weird noises. And I was like, throw your phone in a glass of water. Just put it in a glass of water right now. And I made my mom cry. It was not a pleasant thing. Yeah. So sometimes I go to a little extremes on those ones, but understanding there's a risk and making it a little more difficult to become a victim. I mean, just understanding certain things. Simple things like, as we add more Internet of the Things to people's houses, I mean, how many Wi-Fi networks do people have? It's normally just one, and you're bumping your phones and giving your password to people to come to visit. Set up a guest network. Set up something you can change every 30 days. Simple little things like that. I hate to remind you, but change your passwords. I mean, I feel like I'm a broken record again, but just make it more difficult for others to victimize you.
And then don't use the same password everywhere.
Yes. I mean,
I still know people that do that.
I mean, Ask.fm got popped last week, 2 weeks ago, and that's 350 million username and passwords with connected Twitter accounts, Google accounts, all the different social media accounts. That is a treasure trove for the next 2.5, 3 years of just using those credentials everywhere. You'll learn, even if it's not the right password, you learn people's password styles. Bad guys are making portfolios out of people. We're figuring out how people generate their passwords and kind of, and then it's easier to crack their password. We're making a dossier on each person. It's 350 million dossiers just in that one hack. Yahoo, there was half a billion.
So the thing a hacker would do with that is try to find all the low-hanging fruit, like have some kind of program that, evaluates the strength of the passwords and then finds the weak ones. And that means that this person is probably the kind of person that would use the same password across multiple.
Or even just write a program and do that. Remember the Ring hack a year ago? That's all it was credential stuffing. So Ring, the security system by default, had 2-factor, but didn't turn it on. And they also had don't try unlimited tries to log into my account. You can lock it out after 10. By default, not turned on because it's not convenient for people. Ring, it's like, I want people to stick these little things up and have security in their house. But cybersecurity, don't make it inconvenient. Then people won't buy our product. That's how they got hacked. They want to say that it's insecure and got hacked into. Reputational harm right there for Ring, but they didn't. It was just credential stuffing. People bought username and passwords on the black market and just wrote a bot that just went through Ring and used every one of them to maybe 1% hit, but that's a big hit to the number of Ring users.
You can use also password managers to make the changing of the passwords easier.
Yeah. You can choose the difficulty, the number of special characters, the length of it, and all that.
My favorite thing is on websites yell at you for your password being too long or having too many special characters, or you're not allowed to have this special character or something.
You can only use these 3 special characters.
It's like,
do you understand how password cracking works? If you specifically tell me which special characters I can use,
I honestly just want to have a one-on-one meeting, like late at night with the engineer that programmed that, because that's like an intern. I just want to have a sit-down meeting.
Yeah, I made my parents switch banks once because the security was so poor. I was like, you can't have money here.
But then there's also like the 0-day attacks, like I mentioned before, the QNAP NAS that got hacked. Luckily, I didn't have anything private on there, but it really woke me up to like, okay, so like you have to take everything extremely seriously.
Unfortunately for the end users, there's nothing you can do about 0-day. It's, you have no control over that. I mean, the engineers that made the software don't even know about it. Now, let's talk about 1-days. So there's a patch now out there for the security. So if you're not updating your systems for these security patches, if it's just not on you, my father-in-law has such an old iPhone, you can't security patch it anymore. So, and I tell him, I say, this is what you're missing out on. This is what you're exposing yourself to because, we talked about that powerful tool that how we found Ross Ulbricht at gmail.com. Well, bad guys are using that too. It's called, it used to be called Google dorking. Now I think it's named kind of Google hacking by the community. You can go and find a vulnerability, read about the white paper, what's wrong with that software. And then you can go on the internet and find all of the computers that are running that outdated software. And there's your list. There's your target list.
Yeah.
I know the vulnerabilities that they're running. Again, not making a playbook here, but that's how easy it is to find your targets, and that's what the bad guys are doing.
Then the reverse is tough. It's much tougher, but it's still doable. Which is like first find the target. Like if you have specific targets, to hack into a Twitter account, for example,
Much harder.
that's probably social engineering, right? That's probably the best way.
Probably if you want something specific to that. I mean, if you really want to go far, if you're targeting a specific person, how hard is it to get into their office and put a little device, USB device in line with their mouse? Who checks how their mouse is plugged in? And you can, for $40 on the black market, you can buy a keylogger that just USB, then the mouse plugs right into it. It looks like an extension on the mouse. If you can even find it, you can buy the stuff with a mouse inside of it. And just plug it into somebody's computer. And there's a keylogger that lives in there and calls home, sends everything you want. So, and it's cheap.
Yeah. In grad school, a program that built a bunch of keyloggers. It was fascinating. A tracking mouse, just for what I was doing as part of the research. I was doing to see if by the dynamics of how you type and how you move the mouse, you can tell who the person is.
Oh wow,
that's like it's called the active authentication, or like it's basically biometrics that's not using bio.
Yeah.
To see how identifiable that is. So it's fascinating to study that, but it's also fascinating how damn easy it is to install keyloggers. So I think is in natural, what happens is you realize how many vulnerabilities there are in this world. You do that when you understand bacteria and viruses. You realize they're everywhere. And the same way with I'm talking about biological ones. And then you realize that all the vulnerabilities that are out there. One of the things I've noticed quite a lot is how many people don't log out of their computers. Just how easy physical access to systems actually is. Like in a lot of places in this world. And I'm not talking about private homes, I'm talking about companies, especially large companies. It seems quite trivial in certain places that I've been to walk in and have physical access to a system. And that's depressing to me.
It is. It just, I laugh because one of my partners at Naxo that I work at now, he worked at a big company. Like you would know the name as soon as I told you. I'm not going to say it. But the guy who owned the company, and the company has his name on it, didn't want to ever log into a computer. It just annoyed the shit out of him. Mm-hmm. So they hired a person that stands next to his computer when he's not there. Yeah. And that's his physical security.
See, that's good. That's pretty good, actually.
So, yeah, I guess if you could afford to do that.
Yeah. At least you're taking your security seriously. I feel like there's a lot of people in that case would just not have a login.
Yeah. No, the security team there had to really work around to make that work, non-compliant with company policy.
But that's interesting. The key log. There's just a lot of threats.
Yeah,
there's a lot of ways to get in.
Yeah, so you can't sit around and worry about someone physically gaining access to your computer with keylogger and stuff like that. If you're traveling to a foreign country and you work for the FBI, then yeah, you do. You pick little, sometimes some countries you would bring a fake laptop just to see if they stole it or accessed it.
I really want, especially in this modern day, to just create a lot of clones of myself that generate Lex sounding things and just put so much information out there. I actually dox myself all across the world.
And then you're not a target, I guess. You just put it out there. I've always said that, though. Like, we do these searches in FBI houses and stuff like that. If someone just got like a box load of like 10 terabyte drives and just encrypted them, mm-hmm. Oh my God, you know how long the FBI would spin their wheels trying to get that data off there? It'd be insane.
Oh, so just give them...
You don't even know which one you're looking for.
Yeah. That's true. So it's like me printing like a treasure map to a random location, just get people to go on goose chases. Yeah. What what about operating system? What have you found? What's the most secure and what's the least secure operating system? Windows, Linux. Is there no universal?
There's no universal security. I mean, it changed. People used to think Macs were the most secure just because they just weren't out there. But now kids have had access to them. So, I know you're a Linux guy. I like Linux too. But it's tough to run a business on Linux. People want to move more towards the Microsofts and the Googles just because it's easier to communicate with other people that maybe aren't computer guys. So you have to just take what's best, what's easiest, and secure the shit out of it as much as you can, and just think about it.